When Michael Jordan bought the Charlotte Bobcats in 2010 for $275 million, it seemed like a perfect pairing. The best player of all time was going to be an owner, so it had to work out, right? Oh, so very wrong. Mike should have stuck with Air Jordan instead of Air GM because basically everything that he did was bad for the Hornets. During his 13-year run, the Hornets would only make the playoffs 2 times and they would get bounced in the first round. The best team that Jordan threw together was a 48-34 team in 2015-16 led by Kemba Walker. Be honest with yourself. When your favorite NBA team goes against the Charlotte Hornets, has there ever been a time when you're afraid, when you think that you might lose? No, it's an easy win. And although Jordan's time with the Hornets was mostly a disaster, the last few years have a little bit of light. LaMelo Ball, who seems like a true superstar, has been drafted by the Hornets and he signed an extension there just this offseason. The Hornets had the number 2 pick in the NBA draft just this offseason and picked Brandon Miller, who Jordan was extremely fond of. There have been fans who have been disappointed that they didn't take Scoot Henderson though. Even the mascot in this clip was disappointed. And when your own mascot doesn't agree with the team decisions, it's not a good look. And Brandon Miller's IQ is already being questioned after calling Paul George his GOAT. In my eyes, Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And I would understand if he said LeBron since that's who we all grew up with and watched. But Paul George? Like, I love PG-13, but this was a rated R take because that is scary to think. One other bright spot is that the Hornets made the play-in tournament 2 out of the past 3 seasons. Somehow they got in there in 2020-21, even though they had a 33-39 record. Ew. And they got bounced by the Pacers in the play-in. And the following year, in 21-22, they had a 43-39 record, which actually was improvement, and it looked like they were really a good young team. LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges were a great young duo that could really blossom into something in this league. But even then, the Hornets would get demolished by 30 by the Hawks, and yet again, out of the playoffs, which they haven't been in since 2016, by the way. But overall, in those 2 seasons, there was real improvement, real growth, and there was a path to success for the Hornets that would crumble. On June 29th, 2022, Miles Bridges was arrested for alleged involvement in a domestic violence incident with the mother of his children. He was accused of assaulting the woman right in front of his 2 kids. Not only is that disgusting, it doesn't have any place in the league. And the NBA announced that they would suspend Bridges for 30 games. But because of this situation, Bridges wouldn't even get signed in the first place. He would end up missing the entire 2022-23 season, and that is a huge blow for the Hornets. They were missing their second best player, their dominant big man, and the wingman to LaMelo Ball. And speaking of LaMelo, he ended up having a string of injuries that really hurt his year. LaMelo dealt with some ankle issues, even spraining his ankle in the preseason, which is never a good sign of how your season's gonna go. And in the middle of the season, LaMelo would not catch a break and he would end up fracturing his ankle. This ended up being a freak, non-contact injury that would hurt the Hornets yet again. As you can see in the clip, he wasn't even twisting his ankle. There wasn't any significant force or pressure, nobody landed on it, it just fractured. But don't worry, 2021 first rounder James Bouknight was here for the rescue. No, he wasn't, no. The Hornets would end in an abysmal 27-55 record. The only worst team in the East was the Detroit Pistons. Which brings us to the current day where Michael Jordan just sold the Hornets for $3 billion. Like he needed any more money. He must have had enough of his own bad decisions and wanted to get the hell out of the mess that he created. Which might have been a good idea because the Hornets situation has even gotten worse. In the Summer League this offseason, Kai Jones hit a monster dunk over Victor Wembanyama and the internet went crazy. This was the highlight of Kai's career already because Victor had so much hype and he got yammed on. But since then, Kai Jones has gone on a social media rampage that is going to get him kicked off of the Hornets and out of the league. Kai Jones has been tweeting constantly, calling himself God, and then putting a million emojis behind it. You know it's a problem when your ideas behind a tweet sound like Kanye West and then you have enough emojis to make it look like Lil Uzi or Playboi Carti. And this has been happening for about a month, where Kai has also randomly gone on Instagram Live, seen sweating profusely, seen dancing, slurring his speech, talking insanely fast. He's gone out into random parking garages with no shoes on, and I'm legitimately concerned for his player's well-being. His mental health needs to be checked on and his phone needs to be thrown into a fire. Because while all of this has been happening in the past month, the Charlotte Hornets first became aware of his social media posts and was going to handle the situation internally. More time went by and Kai Jones' status with the Hornets became murky. It was uncertain whether he would be even on the roster or go to training camp, and he attended none of the voluntary sessions by the players. And most recently, it came out that Kai Jones is going to be away from the Hornets indefinitely due to personal reasons, and he has no timetable to return. Now, Kai Jones wasn't a huge part of this Hornets roster, but he was a first-round pick in 2021, and he only averaged 2.7 points per game. And really, if anything, this just sums up all of the problems that the Hornets have been having, and I don't see how it's going to get better. Yes, you have LaMelo Ball, and Miles Bridges is returning this year, but it's just going to be more mediocrity, or not even that. So, to any Charlotte Hornet fans that still exist somehow, I'm sorry, but it's not getting better anytime soon.